as we all know, Gardner Minshew, or how I like calling him, the Shoe, is taking NFL by storm. And it's not with his talent, which he does have, or his throwing power, or his statistics, which he does have. It's with Minshew mania. He's adored by all the fans. He has a mustache. He has the George that became a meme of sorts. And yes, he's special. He's talented. He can throw the ball. He has a zip on it. He's precise. He doesn't force throws. He has high IQ. He makes the right and smart reads. From what I can tell, he is notorious for being a hard worker, studying game film all the time, etc., etc., etc. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm going to talk about why I believe he's destined for greatness. Not from a analytical point of view, or from he does this great and that'll make him unstoppable point of view, but from the point of what really, really makes him special. His leadership. And this is part of the reason why, and I'm going to say why I liked Baker Mayfield coming out of Oklahoma. Because of his leadership and part of the charisma. Yes, he has the work ethic, and that's great, but we're looking for that in all quarterbacks. All quarterbacks should have a great work ethic, just like Gardner Minshew. And like I said, what makes him very, very special is his leadership. And in order to understand it, we have to look at his past, look at his story, look at his history, what makes him in the NFL. He is a hardworking kid. He was a student athlete. He excelled in being a student and being an athlete. He went to Brandon High School. He made it onto the team, the varsity team, as a freshman, which you don't really see very often. And he made his debut game as a freshman when the starting quarterback, I believe a junior, named Trey Poke, broke his arm. Does that ring any bells, or can you kind of see any similarities between then, high school, and now? Oh, and guess what? He threw for 3 touchdowns in the second half. And yes, they lost. But guess what? That's not what the coaches took away from it. The coaches took away from it that while they were trying to figure out what to do with this freshman who wasn't tall, they really liked, but he's a freshman, 14 years old. He was calm, cool, collected, and guess what? When your quarterback is like that, when the leader of the team is like that, it infects everyone. From the teammates to the coaches, to the whole staff, to the fans. That, hey, even though they lost, I got this. I got this. And outside of football, in high school, he was a huge community guy. He's very charismatic, goofy, down to earth, just like how he is today, from what we can see on the field. And his mannerisms in interviews, and the way he carries himself. Very positive, charismatic, down to earth. Very goofy as well. He started a Panini Club, and there's a whole story on that. He coached a 9 to 10-year-old city recreational football team. He boosted the church's youth basketball program, made it more popular within the area that he was living in. Great community guy, great person. And you can tell that just by seeing the way that he carries himself. But despite how well he played in high school, everything he's done on an academic level, he wasn't like that at all. He was glanced over by the bigger schools. And the main reason why was because of his height. Same reason why Kyler Murray wasn't looked up very highly, or Baker Mayfield, or Drew Brees, or any other small quarterback. Same goes for Gardner Minshew in this case. He wasn't 6 feet tall. And he said, all right, well, I'm not going to one of the bigger schools, obviously, at this point, because they're not recruiting me. So he decided that he was going to walk on at Troy University. However, he was not named the starter. Because he was not named the starter, he didn't want to wait 3 years until the quarterback at the time left, or for some sort of thing to happen where he got injured, because you never want that to happen. He decided to leave Troy and wanted to prove himself at Northwestern Mississippi Community College. Junior college. And there, it was all about proving himself and getting down to business. And he won the NJCAA, which is basically the National Junior College Championship. He won the championship. And from there, although he proved himself, he was still passed on by the bigger name schools because he wanted to transfer from an NWM at CC, Northwestern Mississippi Community College. He wanted to transfer from there to some other big schools so he could really get his name out there and, of course, make it to the NFL, because who doesn't want to go to the NFL? Again, no big name colleges called him or anything like that. They went and talked to some of the players on his team, 3 of them, but none of them were Gardner Minshew. And so he decided that he would transfer to East Carolina University, where he would eventually get his communications degree and graduate from there in 2 years. But he didn't play much his first year. He had a couple snaps in. He played the last 2 games. And then second year, he finally got his start. And throughout that whole time, he split starts with the other quarterback at the time, Thomas Sirk, and they were actually roommates. Now, according to Thomas Sirk, and what he said about Gardner Minshew, and these are direct quotes, he took the time to help me learn their system, even though they were competing for the starting quarterback job. Gardner Minshew took his time to help a competing quarterback understand the system, learn what was going on. Yes. Again, Thomas Sirk says that he is a team guy. And that's exactly what you want from your quarterback, to really go out of his way to help anyone on the team, to help anyone and everyone on the team, no matter what's going on. And after a couple games, Gardner Minshew was benched in that second year at East Carolina University, where Thomas Sirk ended up taking over for a bit. And you can't really blame Gardner Minshew. They had a pretty bad defense at East Carolina. But after, I believe, 6 games of Thomas Sirk starting, Gardner Minshew was right back in the fold, right back to the starting quarterback position. And he finished off the season, the last 3 games, with 70% completion percentage, 1,023 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, which is pretty good. Pretty good aside from the interceptions. It's really good. However, his team gave up over 100 points within those 3 games. Something like that. Their defense was really bad. So you can't really put how bad that team was in their record on Gardner Minshew. But he did graduate the same year, and he decided that he would go on as a graduate transfer, which meant by the NCAA rules, he could go to whatever school he wanted, and he wouldn't have to sit out a year like any other transfer would have to. So when you look at this, it really was his last chance to prove himself, make a name for himself, get himself out there, get into the NFL. One last chance at his dream. And during this time, Nick Saban reached out to Gardner Minshew with an additional offer of coming onto the team, probably not being the starter, but being on the team, and if it doesn't work out, he can be the graduate assistant coach for the Alabama football team. But he went to the Washington State University, where he went to and brought them to glory once again, because he, according to what was said by his head coach at Washington State University, who recruited him there and persuaded him to come there, is that he didn't want to. It was either playing football, starting for your team, throwing the ball around, scoring touchdowns, or standing on the sideline with a clipboard. There's nothing wrong with standing on the side with a clipboard, but that's not what Gardner Minshew wanted. He wanted to make a name for himself, to go out there and prove himself once again, and try to make it to the big leagues. And during this time, Washington State University had taken a tremendous hit in their community and also their football program. Their quarterback, before Gardner Minshew got there, Tyler Helinski, took his own life. So it was, and he was later diagnosed with stage 1 CTE. So it was a big hit for the Washington State University, for the whole school, for the whole community, as well as the football program. So of course it's tough. It's tough. But once Gardner Minshew got there and started tearing apart the whole NCAA, he brought life back into the community there, back into the football program that was hurting, back into the community that was hurting and mourning over the loss of Tyler Helinski. And he became a hero in that sense. He tied and broke records. He was 5th in the Heisman voting. He won the Alamo Bowl. No, I said Alamo Bowl against, I believe, Iowa State. He was the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, which goes out to the best, I believe, graduate transfer / senior quarterback. And he finally got what he wanted. He finally got noticed by the Jaguars. He was the 6th-round pick by the Jaguars, and he made his debut famously, as we all know, against the Kansas City Chiefs, where Nick Foles, similar to Trey Pope back in high school, went out with an injury. Except for Nick Foles, it ended up being a broken clavicle. But just like back in high school, Gardner Minshew came in poised, calm, ready, prepared. He threw 2 touchdowns and 1 pick, but had an 88% completion percentage. So right out of the gate, already breaking records. That 88% was the highest by any quarterback in his debut, and also a record for the Jaguars franchise by a quarterback. And now he has 2 wins under his belt. One against Tennessee, who the Jaguars hadn't beaten in the past 3 games or something like that. And also one against Denver, where he made some tremendous plays. Minshew magic all over the place. Went down, got a game-winning field goal with Josh Lambo. Spectacular. And you can tell by the way that he is and the way that he plays, he still has that charisma, he still has that calmness, he still has that poise, he still has that hope that everything will be fine. He has that calm, cool, collected vibe about him. He still has that goofiness to him. You saw him with, I forgot who it was, but the Napoleon Dynamite character. Uncle Rico, I'm pretty sure. You might have to correct me on that. But he still has all that, and that groomed, and that came from and groomed him all the way from when he was a kid in high school, from college, to all the turmoil, to all the struggles, all of that, till now. And all that charisma, hope, goofiness, all that's infectious to everyone, just like how it was in high school when he was calm, cool, and collected, how it helped the coaches trust him and understand that, hey, this kid is for real. It's infectious to all the coaches because they can now trust him to succeed. His teammates that can trust him also, and he can build a chemistry with them. It's the fans that can trust him to lead this organization forward to win games and to be able to put their faith in him, to trust that he'll contribute to wins. And with all of that, it allows him to be himself and to have the whole team rally behind him. And guess what? When you have a leader that believes in himself and the whole team believes in you, and the team responds and rallies behind them and believes in themselves, as well as their quarterback, that is a team that is united. That is a team that is willing to fight for each other, where no matter how much they are down, they believe that they can always win. That is a team that can never be wounded or strayed from a path. That is a team that will do whatever it takes to win. That is a united team. And that's why I said on this very podcast, I think maybe right when Nick Foles got injured, so that's week 2, so 2 weeks ago, that I still had faith in the Jaguars. I had them going 9-7 this season with Nick Foles, and I still believe that. I still have faith in them without Nick Foles, because they got Gardner Minshew, and I saw what he was able to do. I saw him against Kansas City on TV, and I said, the Jaguars will be just fine. Yes, they lost. They lost in his debut against, I forgot what team it was in high school when he made his debut. They lost, but he played fine. That's why I still believe in him. That's why I still believe in that team. That's why I believe in what I'm going to call the shoe. And if you have a chance, watch a Jaguars game. Watch one. Because I'm telling you, once you watch it, you watch Gardner Minshew, he's like the Pied Piper. And guess what? Once you start watching him, you will be charmed. And you'll believe in him too.